Ladies and gentlemen, most people believe success belongs to the smartest person in the room. They think it belongs to the lucky, the talented, or the well-connected. But if you study the lives of extraordinary people, you will discover a different truth. Success belongs to those who value something most people throw away every single day. That something is time. Time is the one resource that every human being receives equally. Every morning, the billionaire and the beginner wake up with the same 24 hours. The champion and the quitter both receive the same number of minutes. The difference is not in what they are given. The difference is in what they do with what they have. The 1% understand this better than anyone else. They don't see time as something to spend. They see it as something to invest. Every hour has a purpose. Every day has a direction. Every decision is measured against one simple question. Will this move me closer to the life I want? Think about the average person. They wake up without a clear plan. They react to notifications before they react to their own goals. They let distractions dictate their schedule. Hours disappear into meaningless conversations, endless scrolling, unnecessary television, and worrying about things they cannot control. At the end of the day, they wonder where the time went. The remarkable person lives differently. They don't wait for motivation. They create routines. They don't hope for opportunities. They prepare for them. They don't complain about having too little time. They become masters of the time they already have. Every successful life is built 1 hour at a time. Great achievements are never created in a single moment. They are the result of hundreds of ordinary days used extraordinarily well. While everyone else is looking for shortcuts, the top performers are quietly stacking productive hours. While others are searching for excuses, they are building habits. While others are entertaining themselves, they are educating themselves. The truth is simple. Every minute you waste today becomes a piece of tomorrow you can never recover. Time is unlike money. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose your health and work toward restoring it. You can lose a business and build another one. But once a minute disappears, it is gone forever. No amount of success can buy yesterday back. That's why the 1% protect their time with incredible discipline. They are careful about who they spend time with, because they know attitudes are contagious. They are selective about what they watch, because information shapes thinking. They guard their mornings, because the beginning of the day often determines the direction of the entire day. They understand that saying yes to everything is actually saying no to their biggest dreams. Every distraction carries a hidden price. Every unnecessary meeting, every pointless argument, every hour spent comparing yourself to someone else quietly steals from the future you could have created. The people who rise above the crowd have learned one powerful lesson. Focus is a superpower. When you focus on one meaningful task instead of 10 meaningless ones, progress accelerates. When your energy is directed toward growth instead of distraction, confidence begins to replace doubt. Success doesn't arrive because life suddenly becomes easier. Success arrives because your attention becomes stronger than temptation. Most people underestimate what they can accomplish in one focused year because they overestimate what they can accomplish in one distracted week. The 1% don't chase excitement every day. They chase consistency. They know that reading 10 pages every day becomes dozens of books each year. Saving a small amount consistently becomes financial freedom. Improving one skill every week eventually creates expertise that the world is willing to reward. Small disciplines repeated over time create extraordinary results. This is why ordinary moments matter so much. The decision to wake up earlier. The decision to finish the book instead of watching another episode. The decision to exercise instead of making another excuse. The decision to learn instead of complain. These choices seem insignificant in the moment, but compounded over months and years, they separate average lives from exceptional ones. The greatest tragedy isn't failure. The greatest tragedy is reaching the end of your life, realizing that you traded your greatest dreams for temporary comfort. Comfort whispers, you can start tomorrow. Discipline answers, start now. Comfort says, rest a little longer. Purpose says, get moving. Comfort promises easy days. Discipline delivers extraordinary years. The people who become leaders, innovators, creators, and examples for others rarely possess magical abilities. They simply refuse to waste the hours everyone else takes for granted. They understand that every sunrise is an opportunity to become wiser. Every challenge is an opportunity to become stronger. Every setback is an opportunity to become better. And every single day is another chance to build the life they refuse to leave to chance. Time is the only resource that is distributed equally to every person on earth. It doesn't matter where you were born, how much money you have, or what opportunities have come your way. Every sunrise delivers the same 24 hours to every human being. Yet by the end of the year, some people have transformed their lives, while others are standing in the exact same place, wondering why nothing has changed. The difference is not the amount of time they received. The difference is how they invested it. The majority of people think about time only after they have wasted it. They postpone important decisions, delay meaningful work, and convince themselves there will always be another tomorrow. They spend hours on things that produce no value, and then complain that life moves too fast. They are busy every day, but being busy is not the same as being productive. Activity without purpose creates exhaustion, while purposeful action creates progress. The top 1% see time differently. They understand that every hour carries the potential to change their future. Before they commit to an activity, they ask themselves whether it brings them closer to their goals or pulls them farther away. This simple habit shapes every decision they make. They don't allow their schedule to be controlled by distractions, because they know every distraction has a hidden cost. Every unnecessary conversation, every hour of mindless entertainment, and every moment spent worrying about things beyond their control quietly steals pieces of the future they are trying to build. Think of time as money placed into an investment account. Every minute can either grow in value or disappear forever. If you invest 1 hour learning a valuable skill, that hour continues paying you for years through increased knowledge, confidence, and opportunity. If you invest 1 hour strengthening your health, that hour returns energy, discipline, and longevity. If you invest 1 hour planning your future, you avoid weeks of confusion and uncertainty. Wise investments multiply. Poor investments vanish without leaving anything behind. Many people wait until they feel motivated before taking action. They believe inspiration must arrive before progress can begin. Successful people know something different. They understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. They begin working even when they don't feel like it, because they recognize that consistency is far more valuable than temporary excitement. Feelings change every day, but disciplined action builds lasting results. Every successful career, every thriving business, every healthy relationship, and every remarkable achievement has been built through thousands of ordinary hours used wisely. There is no magical shortcut that replaces consistent effort. Behind every overnight success are years of preparation that no one applauded. Behind every confident speaker were countless hours of practice. Behind every respected leader were years spent learning, growing, and improving, while others chose comfort instead. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing they have plenty of time. Youth creates the illusion that tomorrow is guaranteed. Middle age often becomes consumed by responsibilities that were never planned properly. Later in life, many discover that opportunities once ignored never returned. Time doesn't announce when it is leaving. It quietly disappears one day at a time until years have passed without notice. The 1% develop the habit of protecting their calendar. They understand that saying yes to everything means saying no to something important. They are careful about who receives their attention, because attention is one of life's most valuable assets. They avoid people who constantly complain, gossip, or drain their energy, because they know attitudes are contagious. Instead, they surround themselves with individuals who challenge them to grow, think bigger, and act with purpose. They also understand that small pieces of time should never be underestimated. 15 minutes spent reading each day becomes dozens of books over several years. 30 minutes of daily exercise transforms both the body and the mind. One focused hour dedicated to mastering a skill eventually creates expertise that separates you from the crowd. Great accomplishments are rarely built during extraordinary moments. They are built during ordinary moments, repeated with extraordinary consistency. The most successful people don't ask how they can pass the time. They ask how they can make the time count. They replace entertainment with education, excuses with action, and procrastination with preparation. While others wait for ideal circumstances, they begin with whatever they have. While others complain about limited opportunities, they create opportunities through disciplined effort. They understand that every sunrise delivers another chance to invest in the person they are becoming, and every decision either increases the value of that investment or quietly diminishes it. Distraction has become one of the greatest enemies of success. It rarely announces itself as something dangerous. Instead, it arrives disguised as harmless entertainment, unnecessary conversations, endless notifications, or the promise that you can always do the important work later. It steals minutes before it steals hours, and eventually, it steals years. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because their attention is constantly pulled away from the things that matter most. The people who reach the highest levels of success understand that discipline is not about making life difficult. It is about making life intentional. Discipline gives direction to your energy. Without it, your days become controlled by whatever demands your attention first. Every notification becomes an interruption. Every opinion becomes a distraction. Every temporary pleasure becomes more attractive than long-term achievement. When this pattern repeats day after day, progress slows until it almost disappears. The top 1% refuse to allow distractions to decide their future. They know exactly what deserves their attention and what deserves to be ignored. They don't confuse movement with progress. They understand that being busy all day does not guarantee meaningful results. A person can work from morning until night and still accomplish very little if every task lacks purpose. Productive people focus on what truly moves them forward instead of filling their schedule with activities that simply make them feel occupied. Discipline begins with controlling the smallest decisions. It begins when the alarm clock rings in the morning. One voice says to stay in bed for a few more minutes. Another voice reminds you of the person you want to become. Every time you choose purpose over comfort, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you choose comfort over responsibility, you strengthen your excuses. These small decisions may appear insignificant, but they quietly shape your character, one day at a time. Many people believe discipline means having extraordinary willpower. The truth is much simpler. Discipline is built through habits. When positive actions become daily routines, they require less mental effort. Successful people don't spend every morning debating whether they should work toward their goals. They have already made that decision. Their routine carries them forward even on days when motivation is missing. They rely on systems instead of emotions, because emotions change, but good systems remain dependable. Distractions multiply whenever there is no clear direction. If you wake up without a plan, anything can capture your attention. Hours disappear responding to messages, scrolling through social media, watching videos, or reacting to problems that have little importance. At the end of the day, you feel exhausted but not fulfilled. Discipline changes this by creating priorities before the day begins. When you know exactly what needs to be accomplished, it becomes much easier to ignore everything that doesn't contribute to those goals. Successful people also understand the importance of protecting their environment. They know it is difficult to remain focused when surrounded by constant interruptions. They create spaces that encourage concentration. They remove unnecessary distractions before beginning important work. They silence notifications, organize their workspace, and dedicate blocks of uninterrupted time to tasks that require their full attention. They don't depend on self-control alone. They build environments that make disciplined choices easier. Another powerful form of discipline is learning to say no. Many people struggle because they try to please everyone. They accept invitations they don't truly want, commit to projects they don't have time for, and allow other people's priorities to replace their own. Every unnecessary yes becomes a hidden no to something more important. The most successful individuals understand that protecting their time requires the courage to decline opportunities that don't align with their purpose. Discipline also transforms the way people respond to setbacks. Distracted individuals often quit when progress becomes slow or difficult. Disciplined people expect challenges because they understand that every worthwhile goal demands persistence. They don't allow temporary failure to become permanent defeat. Instead of making excuses, they adjust their approach, learn from mistakes, and continue moving forward. They recognize that consistency during difficult seasons often creates the greatest breakthroughs. The strongest advantage discipline provides is freedom. At first, discipline may appear restrictive because it requires sacrifice and self-control. In reality, it creates choices that undisciplined living can never provide. Financial discipline creates wealth. Physical discipline creates health. Mental discipline creates wisdom. Emotional discipline creates stronger relationships. Professional discipline creates opportunity. Every meaningful reward in life grows from the willingness to consistently do what others avoid. The 1% understand that focus is one of the rarest and most valuable skills in the modern pop world. While countless people allow every distraction to pull them away from their purpose, disciplined individuals keep their eyes fixed on the destination they have chosen. They don't chase every opportunity or react to every interruption. They commit themselves to the work that matters most, knowing that extraordinary success is rarely the result of doing more things, but of giving complete attention to the right things every single day. Most people dream about dramatic change. They imagine that one big opportunity, one perfect decision, or one extraordinary breakthrough will completely transform their lives. They wait for the right moment, the right connection, or the right circumstances before they begin. The truth is much different. Extraordinary success is rarely created by one massive event. It is built through small daily actions that seem almost invisible in the beginning, but become impossible to ignore over time. The people who belong to the top 1% understand the power of consistency. They know that success is not measured by what you do once in a while. It is measured by what you do every single day. One positive decision may not seem important today, but repeated hundreds of times, it creates a completely different future. The smallest habits, when practiced consistently, become the foundation of remarkable achievements. Imagine planting a seed. On the first day, nothing appears to happen. A week later, there may still be no visible change. Even after several weeks, the ground may look exactly the same. Many people would assume their efforts were wasted and stop watering the soil. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Growth is taking place where no one can see it. Eventually, the plant breaks through the ground, and everyone notices the result. They celebrate the visible success, forgetting that the invisible work made it possible. Life follows the same principle. Reading 10 pages every day may not seem impressive. Exercising for 30 minutes may not produce immediate transformation. Saving a small amount of money each week may appear insignificant. Learning one new skill every month may not attract attention. Yet these actions compound over time, creating results that surprise everyone, except the person who remained consistent. Small actions possess incredible power because they eliminate the pressure of perfection. Many people fail before they begin because they believe they must make huge changes overnight. They create unrealistic plans, push themselves beyond what they can sustain, and eventually become exhausted. Then they return to old habits and conclude that success is impossible. The wiser approach is to focus on improvements that can be repeated every day. Consistency always defeats intensity when intensity cannot be maintained. Every choice you make becomes a vote for the person you are becoming. Every healthy meal strengthens the identity of someone who values their health. Every page you read strengthens the identity of a lifelong learner. Every hour spent developing a skill strengthens the identity of a professional who is committed to excellence. Success begins internally before it becomes visible externally. The repeated actions shape your identity, and your identity eventually shapes your destiny. The top performers don't ignore small opportunities because they know that greatness is built one step at a time. They understand that every productive hour contributes to something much larger. They don't become discouraged when immediate rewards fail to appear because they trust the process. They realize that progress often remains invisible until enough consistent effort has accumulated. Consider the power of 1% improvement. If you become just 1% better each day, the changes seem almost impossible to notice in the beginning. However, as those improvements continue to build upon one another, they create extraordinary momentum. Knowledge expands, confidence grows, skills become sharper, decisions improve, opportunities increase. The distance between where you started and where you stand becomes enormous, all because of small daily commitments that never seem dramatic. Unfortunately, the opposite principle is also true. Small negative habits compound just as powerfully as positive ones. Skipping one workout seems harmless. Wasting one evening appears insignificant. Spending a little money carelessly doesn't feel dangerous. Delaying important work until tomorrow may seem like a minor decision. Yet repeated often enough, these choices quietly shape a future filled with regret. Just as positive habits build success, negative habits slowly build failure without announcing their arrival. The 1% become extremely intentional about their daily routines because they understand that routines determine results. They don't rely on luck or occasional bursts of motivation. Instead, they build habits that continue producing progress, regardless of how they feel. On difficult days, they still move forward. On successful days, they continue improving. They don't allow emotions to interrupt the process because they know consistency matters more than temporary enthusiasm. Patience is another quality that separates extraordinary individuals from everyone else. Society encourages people to expect instant results. Everything is designed to happen quickly, making it easy to become frustrated when personal growth requires time. Successful people resist this mindset. They understand that meaningful achievements develop gradually. They focus on the process instead of constantly measuring immediate outcomes. Their satisfaction comes from knowing they honored their commitment today, regardless of whether today's effort produced visible rewards. There is tremendous strength in ordinary discipline. Waking up with purpose, completing important work before distractions appear, learning something valuable each day, improving your health one choice at a time, strengthening your character through honest actions, and refusing to let comfort replace commitment may not attract applause from others. But these repeated actions quietly build a life that reflects excellence. While many search for the secret to lasting success, the 1% continue doing the simple things with exceptional consistency, allowing small daily actions to grow into achievements that appear extraordinary only because so few people were willing to remain faithful to the process every single day. Every person is given the opportunity to choose how they will live. Some allow circumstances to decide their direction, while others make intentional choices that shape the future they desire. The difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one often comes down to purpose. When you live with purpose, every decision has meaning. Every action moves you toward a destination. Without purpose, it becomes easy to drift through life, reacting to whatever happens instead of creating the future you truly want. The top 1% understand that success begins with clarity. They know exactly what they are working toward, and that vision influences the way they spend their time, energy, and attention. They don't wake up hoping something good will happen. They wake up with a reason to improve, to learn, and to make progress. Purpose gives them direction, even when life becomes difficult, because they are driven by something greater than temporary emotions. Excuses are the greatest enemies of purpose. They sound reasonable. They feel comfortable. They provide temporary relief from responsibility. People often blame their circumstances, their past, their lack of resources, or the actions of others. While these challenges may be real, they do not have to determine the outcome of a person's life. The moment you accept excuses as permanent truths, you hand over control of your future. The moment you accept responsibility, you take that control back. Purpose requires responsibility. It asks you to become the author of your own story, rather than the victim of your circumstances. It reminds you that while you cannot control everything that happens, you can always control your response, your attitude, your effort, your willingness to learn, and your commitment to keep moving forward. Remain within your control, regardless of the obstacles around you. Successful people refuse to let comfort become their destination. Comfort often whispers that you have done enough, that tomorrow will be a better day to begin, or that the risk is too great. Purpose speaks with a different voice. It reminds you of the dreams you have not yet achieved, the potential you have not yet reached, and the person you are capable of becoming. Those who rise above the crowd choose to listen to purpose instead of comfort. Living with purpose also means making decisions that align with your values rather than your moods. There will be days when you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. During those moments, your purpose becomes more important than your feelings. Feelings change from one day to the next, but a clear purpose remains steady. It continues to guide your actions even when motivation fades. The 1% understand that every decision is shaping the person they are becoming. Every hour spent learning instead of complaining. Every challenge faced with courage instead of fear. Every promise kept instead of broken. And every opportunity embraced instead of avoided strengthens their character. They realize that character is built through repeated choices, not occasional moments of greatness. A purposeful life is not measured only by achievements or recognition. It is measured by consistency, integrity, and the willingness to grow every day. The people who leave a lasting impact are rarely those who waited for perfect conditions. They are the ones who took action despite uncertainty, who replaced excuses with responsibility, who stayed committed when progress was slow, and who understood that every day offered another opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more valuable through intentional choices that reflected the life they were determined to create.